Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second edition of the Tribute to the Global Wrestling Federation. And joining us on the line is another star from Global. First week was Craig Johnson, the announcer over there at Global. And the second week is a guy who got that win and released it on video, which was one of my funnier memories. The one and only Barry Horowitz. Barry, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. You're one of those guys. We had a couple guys on, and what do you prefer to be called? Because unfortunately, your career kind of is going to be considered like preliminary, or I don't want to use the word jobber because it's not to be insulting, but we had guys like Jim Powers on and yourself, and to be honest with you, I enjoy those interviews a lot more than some of the stuffier guys who don't want to talk. So, what do you prefer to consider yourself? Like what would you call your guy? A preliminary or?
No, I would say I was a mid-carder.
Mid-carder,
I started preliminary, but I didn't remain there.
You did not, no.
I didn't wrestle preliminary.
You did not, no, and that's the thing. I was watching some tapes the other day, both of Global and WCW in the later years, and of course your stuff in the WWF where you're challenging for tag titles and all that, but I've been watching some stuff, and it's been great to kind of relive some of those memories. And I guess the thing I want to talk to you about first, before we get into a little bit of that other stuff, if you don't mind, is Global. And Global was a little bit of an interesting company. You at that point were a 12-year veteran, so you really already knew the ropes. It wasn't like you were one of the young kids like Chaz or what have you that were coming in. And what was your opinion working for Global, and did you think that it had legs?
Yeah, I thought it did. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the whole situation and organization was done pretty good. I was going to Dallas once a week, and I was also wrestling for other organizations because I was a freelancer and open contract. So I thought it was pretty cool for what it had. I wish I was there on the opening legs of the Global and got to stay even longer, but I was grateful for what I had and what I experienced.
Very cool. Now that was, a wrestling fan's dream for me. I said, last week when I was a kid, it was the greatest thing ever because almost every day it was on ESPN.
Yeah.
It was a great thing for wrestling, I think, and obviously you maybe got attention there, but obviously you cut your teeth and made bigger waves in things like Florida Championship Wrestling. And I want to ask you, Jack Hart, where did the name come from? And when people look back, did you think that people would think of you as one of the Hart brothers?
Yeah. I mean, I find that flattering because I respect the whole Hart family and the Junjin and the way they were broken into pro wrestling and the way they broke other superstars and stars and wrestlers into pro wrestling. So that was flattering, but I'm not originally a Hart. My original name was given to me, my real name, Barry Hart, by Professor Boris Malenko.
I was just about to ask you about him, yeah.
And, by the way, the greatest trainer, the greatest ever in the world, in my opinion. The way I see guys train now and get broken in, nobody holds a card to him. I mean, just a total detailed professor, teacher, what have you. I mean, excellent. And his sons, but he was the king, so... I highly respect him, and I'll never forget him as long as I live.
You said here that I read up on you a little bit, and it says here you trained for 18 months. Was that a rigorous training with Boris?
Yes, that was, I had a part-time job, and I was hitting the weights in the gym, and I would go to him 3 nights a week, which is about a half-hour, 40-minute drive from St. Petersburg, Florida to Tampa. And we were in a mattress warehouse for 3 nights a week. In the summer, it was about 105. In the winter, it was about 40 degrees. You were in there about 2 to 3 hours per night.
Wow.
So, and sometimes it was 4 nights a week. Wow. Did that for a year and a half.
Wow. Do you think that
it was what's that?
Now, when you're trained like that, and obviously, you hear about these things, and I don't think that a lot of the young fans getting into business now and a lot of the young guys getting into business now realize how hard it was to get in back then and how hard you had to work. Do you think that a lot of the trainings of what they're getting now, where it almost seems like you buy a pair of tights and be a wrestler, do you think that's a negative to the business?
Yeah, you shave your head or have a goatee, have some tattoos, and you put a pair of high-techs on and you're a pro wrestler. That's a joke. But, some things are old school and they remain it. Like, as far as certain things in the gym as far as working out with weights, or even pro wrestling. You could look at it in the NFL, too. You see the old school and the new school. I mean, there's certain things that should remain the same, and then there's certain things that are trendy, and there's certain things, like I said, that shouldn't change. So there's a combination of all of that. I just don't believe you could learn the foundation of pro wrestling in a few months and, you're let loose. You just, even if you catch on, great. I mean, which is good. There's a lot to learn, and up there on the foundation is not promos and lavish places to live and so forth. You will not respect the business that way. You just won't. Wow. You got to pay your dues in life, in pro wrestling, in training. You have to. You'll respect it more.
So a lot of the guys that we saw in the most recent season of Tough Enough are actually like 10-year veterans of the independent scene, and they're still being trained by how to work the WWE style and things like that. I think while watching it, you have a little bit more hope that somebody who wins will be one of these independent workers, because at least you know that their heart's in it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Kinda. Well, yeah. Let me go back, shift gears just for a minute. The Jack Hart deal. I went to when I was wrestling for Vince Sr. I was only doing TVs, and I finally, I wanted to go to a territory to learn, the ropes of the road. You just can't learn from TV matches. Right. I was originally supposed to go to Portland, Oregon for Don Owen through Jimmy Snuka, but at the time it was filled. So they made a phone call to Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and that's where I remained for 2 years. And that really, I'm glad, because I'm wrestling 6 nights a week. I'm traveling with Mike Rotundo and Rick Steamboat, Jay Youngblood. The one-man gang was there. Everybody was somebody there. Ric Flair, Harley Race, Mosca, Ivan Koloff, Don Kernodle, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg Valentine. The list goes on and on. The Briscoe brothers. So you better learn, unless you talk about being hungry.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, Bob Orton Jr., traveling and just keeping your mouth shut and just learning your craft and the other aspects of the business. It was really profound on me and really helped me a lot, and I'm glad I was there for 2 years. So anyway, my first TV, I was Barry Hart. At the time, you got your heel and baby face, and Gary Hart was there. He's a heel.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, Barry Hart's a baby face. It would get confusing to the fans. So if I'm not mistaken, in that room, I'm almost positive, Michael Hayes renamed me as Jack Hart.
Where did you get the name Jack from? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. Just thought of it, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was watching one of the old Battle of...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Whoa, let's take that. Gosh, I really got thrown off. He called me Bret Hart.
Oh.
That was it. I'm sorry. I got a little confused there. Bret Hart, and I'm going, I don't even know there's a Bret Hart, and I think it was mentioned, oh, yeah, he's in Canada, don't worry about using his name or something, in the background, and I really didn't pay attention to it. And that's a whole nother story. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, as far as I was having heat with Bret until he got to know me, and it was a misunderstanding. People thought I was Bret Hart, younger, blah, 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 when I went to Maple Leaf Gardens, and he wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. But Jack Hart came when I went to Florida.
Oh, wow. And
we were in the locker room, and they said, hey, you can't call you Bret Hart. We got to think of something else. And if I'm not mistaken, that right there was, again, I think Michael Hayes was there, but I think it was between Michael Hayes and Mike Graham that thought of Jack Hart.
Right.
And that was it. That was that.
Yeah, Mike Graham.
In a nutshell, right there.
Yeah, and Mike Graham, if I'm not mistaken, you later went on to defeat as well.
Right, for the Florida Heavyweight title at the Spartan Sports Center, which is a building of University of Tampa, which has been renamed, I forgot. But, yeah, I'll never forget that. I have the utmost respect for Mike Graham, not only for that, but as a person, a human being. First of all, the man is a phenomenal wrestler and world traveler and great teacher. I mean, he kept me calm in the ring and taught well. Phenomenal. I have, utmost respect for him. And then I wrestled him like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years ago in Davie, Florida, an outdoor show. And there was not too much teaching then. I mean, I was on my way, so it was just a good back and forth wrestling match.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Is it cool for you to go back and wrestle some of the guys who helped you coming up, later on in your career?
Yeah, it's real cool.
It's
definitely.
Kind of to show them, hey, look what I know how to do now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, look what I've learned.
There you go.
So, okay, so we jumped from there, and then
we're going to be a little all over the place. I try to go chronologically, though.
Yeah, and we were somewhere else, though, that I had to go backwards.
Yeah, no, I was just, I was talking a little bit, I don't remember where I was going. We were talking we tried to talk about Don Owen, and then, we went there. Battle of the Belts, and I remember Gordon Soley's voice calling you Jack Hart. And,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, Gordon Soley's one of our, sentimental favorites around here.
Oh, yeah.
His son-in-law and his son-in-law and daughter are often on the show, Bob and Pam Allen. Any memories of the late, great Gordon Soley? Sorry about that.
Oh, no, just that he helped me with my interviews and promos, and he was very, gave me good, constructive criticism and know-how and just the utmost respect. I watched him when I was in high school, when I wrestled in high school and college and so forth. So, he's the dean of professional wrestling.
That's the name I was looking for. I don't know why I drew a blank.
I mean, there's a lot of good announcers too, and while you're at it, throw Craig Johnson in there too and Scott Hudson, because those guys are really good too.
They were really good, and
very good.
Absolutely. And I mean, these are names you remember for 20 years down the line.
Sure.
Remember.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked a little bit about working down in Mid-South and working down with at Mid-Atlantic, I should say. Sorry about that. And you have Florida, and obviously you've mentioned you already had worked for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and you went back up there in '93, and you had a run there, and eventually they gave you probably the biggest and most remembered push of your mainstream career with your victory over Skip, the late great Chris Candido. Now that had to be something that you thought of as a little bit overdue, don't you think? You had to be hoping for that little bit of a run eventually.
I thought about all the years that I hung in there, and I go, what if I left? Well, I probably just left, and that would have been it. But, like my T-shirt said, never give up. And I'm a big believer in that, because I was a pursuer, big-time pursuer. I've always believed in that, and that was my dream anyway. So I think it worked well for me. Sure, you could say you want this, you want more, and I could probably say that, but I'm still grateful that I fulfilled my dream. And getting back to what we were talking about, Toughen Up, I think that's what it was.
That's where we were, yeah.
That's where we were at, yeah. I'm not really a fan. I don't care whose show it is. It's a great marketing tool. What it is you're getting two birds with one stone. You got some ratings, you got a show, and then also you're getting a guy out of there every year or whatever for your roster, instead of getting him from wherever else they break guys in. I don't know, Ohio Valley or Florida or L.A. It's a different tool, so it's kind of a cool idea. But, I just don't believe in the big fancy house and you hold a championship belt. You shouldn't be able to touch any of that. And learning promos, I mean, that's part of the business, but that's not it. It's getting inside the ring, how to go through the ropes, how to hit the ropes properly, how to lock up. And I was watching one little clip of that show about hitting the ropes. I don't know who taught the teachers, but that's not how I was taught to hit the ropes.
That's
so
true.
Everybody's is different. They, basically we all do the same, but there's a different way. But I just think I was taught textbook, and that's the way it should be done. And sure, I got a little way away from textbook, but I don't agree with a lot of that stuff. But again, they're on that show, and they got to do that, and that's kind of cool too. Sure, it's a new way, but it's not the only way, because that's not how you get broken in day by day. I mean, that's just one of the tools and one of the shows they have, and it's cool. I just it looks pretty lavish and comfortable to me.
It does, and it's piggybacking on the success of reality TV, which
of course it is.
And I can't stand that kind of stuff anyway.
What's that?
But I can't stand that kind of stuff anyway. But it puts on an interesting it puts it in an interesting wrestling perspective. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the real success of the show, most of the guys that came from there don't amount to that much.
Right.
Yeah, there's exceptions, but
right, exactly.
Right, but getting back to it though, we were talking a little bit about training, and I got to ask you, did you ever think of picking up and training some guys? Because I know that fellow GWF alumni, Rip Rogers, who was on the show a few months ago, is one of the main trainers over at OVW. Is that something that you would like to do?
I would do it. I probably don't have the time right now, but it's definitely up my alley because I already did that already. I owned a wrestling school in Kentucky, over 10 years ago, 15 years ago with Reno Riggins.
Wow.
And, yeah, we did it for about a year until I got really busy with WWF, and I had to let it go. So we only turned out a few students. And
your former tag partner there with Reno Riggins.
Oh, yeah. Reno's a good guy, good technician, good, solid wrestler. Yeah, definitely. One of my, 10 most favorite people to wrestle probably in my career. And had some barn burners with him. I've wrestled him for 45 minutes to an hour already in some independent shows. So, and we did what the Marquis said is called wrestling.
Wow, and that's what I think our business. I mean, TNA right now is doing a promotion where wrestling matters, but then unfortunately you turn on the show and
wrestling a little bit too late there, gentlemen.
What's that?
Yeah, a little bit too late there. Wrestling matters. It always matters.
It always did, yeah.
Yeah.
It just irks me when they say that and they advertise it and they put the promos on there, and then you turn on the show and the first 2 segments are just long talking segments. Mm-hmm. It's like, if that wrestling matters, why don't you show something?
Yeah, it don't make sense and boring, and everybody's got a microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, your WWF run, you had a big run, and it didn't last forever, though. And why did it end the way that it did?
I have no idea. And that's the God's honest truth. I wasn't, I just wasn't, I have no idea.
It was you're getting T-shirts or getting the push, and then...
Right, and I ended in 97. Yeah. Ended in 97 because I went with WCW in 97, 98, 99 until Vince bought him that out. But there was no heat, had no heat with nobody. You could have revived Barry Horowitz. You could have made him a heel. You could have did a ton of things with him. Sometimes that doesn't matter. Loyalty, you're in the mix. I mean, I've seen guys that are great workers or can't work it. Never try to figure it out. It's like if you want a friend in the wrestling business, buy a dog.
Yeah, that's it. Just don't go near Fuji if you do.
Yeah, really.
No, seriously though, but I was just about to ask you. I told you I was watching some old WCW Saturday nights, and they had you working guys like Vincent, Virgil, whatever you want to call him, and guys like that. And you were around there, and you got your own trading card and things like that there, but they never really kind of picked up and continued on with your push. And I, as a fan who had seen you from Florida and Global, it was kind of like, look, capable of more here, guys. What's going on? But was it just a case of that roster just being? Because if you really take a piece of paper out right now and write down every name that was on the roster, 97, 98 WCW. It would be one of the most stacked and unbelievable rosters of all time.
Sure.
And you could probably say that 90% of those guys were either misused or just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Would you say that you were just one of those?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And again, not crying or complaining or anything. When a guy complains or knocks the business and stuff, he needs to reevaluate himself. Was he a troublemaker? Did he show up late? Did he do this? Did he ignore the gym? Was he allergic to the gym? Could he not perform? Then that's there. I don't think I was any of that. The only thing I probably was minus is pharmaceutical enhanced, and I don't go that way.
Right.
So, and I don't do sexual favors. So, that's it. Otherwise, that's it. I have no idea on certain things. So, but I am grateful for what I've got.
And you had a hell of a career. I'm not trying to knock you at all.
Oh, no, I know that.
Okay. Actually, before the show, we started talking about, your career and things, and one of the things we started talking about was Bobby Heenan came up with a nickname for you, and I was curious if it irked you at all He called you Horowitz.
Oh, no. I like Bobby, and, hey, any kind of, any names, exposure, whatever, when it comes to that is good.
It makes people, that's what, there was another guy, you probably know, Mikey Whipwreck.
Mm-hmm.
And, he called him Mikey Sheep Dip or something like that. Sort of ridiculous. And that name got over more than his actual name, and it actually upset Mikey Whipwreck. And it's like, and I think that sometimes Bobby Heenan comes up with those silly things for you because he likes you.
Right. And Bobby does like me. I just saw him a month ago.
How's he doing?
He's doing better.
That's good.
Yeah, he's slowly getting better and so forth. But he is a good guy and been in the wrestling business for 40 years.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've had a hell of a career, and I mean, it's not over yet. I think that you're still hoping to get active, and I know that your publicist, I'll call her your publicist, was, saying that she's trying to get you more active on the internet, and you have a Facebook page.
Yeah, you know when you strive for something, you strive for something in life, and you could, here's a good example. Dan Marino, he strived to be a great quarterback and did. He did everything, fulfilled his dream. He didn't win the Super Bowl. That's fine. He made it there. And then, of course, he made much more money than me, but he got into the Marino, I think it's, Dan Marino's restaurants or whatever, steakhouses or whatever. I know John Shula has that too. And you go on to something else.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I am spent with my dream. I can only handle one dream per lifetime. That's me. And it's not backing down or just, I really put since 15 years old on into this career. So I'm as far as any other dream, I'm done. I could, I do right now my nutrition work, and I could do other things, and I could pursue them, but I'm happy right now being home every night, and I only work 10 minutes from my home, and I'm 5 minutes from the gym, which I get to dedicate more because I couldn't dedicate it when I was on the road as much as I do now. You didn't have the time, and TV and matches and your profession comes first.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm spent with that. I'm very surprised that Vince doesn't use me for a trainer. I'm real surprised because I know some of those trainers and I could teach them.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, I know so.
Well,
I'm not saying all of them, and I'm not knocking all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, if you don't see talent in me, you don't see nothing in me, you want to try me out, go for it. Because right now, and I've got some injuries, I'll still could go. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, you put me on Monday Night Raw a month from now, let me come out there with that ring jacket and pat myself on the back the way my conditioning is now. I guarantee you people will know who I am, play my music, and I could pull off my match.
Really? And you say you have some injuries. I know you suffered a neck injury.
Well, the neck injury, I tore my tricep about a little over a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's scar tissue and training at an ultimate high-level capacity. So did that, and I have a torn rotator. But there's some guys that are my age, older, or younger that look look bad, and they're still doing independent shows and getting paid, and some of it's pitiful because I wouldn't want to wrestle in that degree of just, walking and talking, But even with my injuries, I could still pull off a lot of things.
Now, you mentioned Raw, and, I got to ask you, what is your opinion? Because what you just said kind of reminded me of the Chris Jericho angle from a few years ago, where he was kind of knocking some of the guys who maybe go out there and aren't in the best of shape and are just kind of doing it for the money. Mm-hmm. Now, would you ever do shows at this point in the game and go out there in front of a smaller crowd and work a longer match and try to show the kids how it's done? Does the fire still burn?
To a point.
To a point?
To a point, yeah. I mean, I just wrestled 3 years ago, twice.
Really? Who'd you work with?
I wrestled in Sarasota, Robarts Arena, which is actually a pretty famous arena. Every company has been through there. I wrestled Ricky Santana to a 15-minute draw.
Ricky Santana, very good.
And then Manatee Civic Center, which is in Palmetto, Florida. I wrestled a local Scott Davis brothers. Local Florida boys.
No relation to Mike Davis, right?
Not at all.
Not at all, yeah.
Not at all.
Another one we lost, for God's sake.
Yep.
We lost too many guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody gave me and this kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm about to ask you, and it's kind of unfortunately a little bit on the topical side. Somebody gave me a stat that kind of irked me, and maybe this will irk you. 25% of the wrestlers on the active roster of the 1991 WWF roster are no longer with us.
Really?
25%.
Didn't know that.
That is frightening, really, when you think about it.
What's real frightening is, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just going to throw this out there, there was only one real accident out of that whole crew, and that was Owen Hart.
That's true.
Just a pure accident. The rest, following that rock star life, following the wrong people, and ended it themselves.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
It wasn't a car wreck or train wreck. Most of them died in their sleep. Overdosed.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I didn't bend their arm to live that rock style life and rock star life. And another thing, it's not the pressure to push or anything like that. If you can't handle it, I understand, you need to evaluate yourself, assess yourself, but there's a lot of guys, heck, Hulk Hogan's been through a lot, so has Flair, Bob Backlund, a lot of guys, and, I don't know what these guys were doing, so I can't talk for them. I don't know, but it seems like they were all, muscle relaxers and liquor don't mix well, and other pharmaceuticals, and, I don't know. I'm not knocking them. Exactly. I'm just saying, what's up, dude?
Exactly. And what was your road life like? Because I had to think that you were like you said, traveling with some of the biggest partiers of the time, like Roddy Piper.
My road life was completely boring, and I was proud of it.
Really? So you were the guy who brought a library book to the hotel room?
Yeah, I was there when I left this house. When I left my house, when I lived in Nashville or Florida, packed up. You're going to do your job. You're a professional athlete. Okay? I get in there, I treat it like a shoot. I'm there to train. I'm not out there to visit and spend money and go to movies. No, I'm there to eat. I'm there to find a gym. I'm there to find a tanning place. I'm there to find a rent-a-car. I'm there to get myself psyched for the match. I get home, I do that with my family. Even if I was single, I probably went out a little bit more, but I'm not there to blow money. I'm there to do my job there. And, I'm not out there to, run around and so forth. That was my thing. I'm done with my match. I'm finding something decent to eat. I'm watching some HBO. I got to get to bed. I need my 8 or 9 hours sleep. I'm not figured in like some other guys and could be 2 or 3 hours late for the show. I'm first, second, third, fourth match or something. I need to be there, and that's the way I treated it.
That's very cool, and there's a lot of guys who I think could have learned from that lesson.
Oh yeah, and if I went by those guys and did follow them, let's just say, was my push bigger? Was it not? You know what? I'm not going to justify that, and I'm not going to sway that way. Those days ended in high school and college of being, hey, dare this and dare that. I'm not doing it as a grown-ass man. It's ridiculous. And you want to make fun of me? Well, that was funny back in the 90s. Well, let's talk right now. What do you own? Where do you live? What's your life like? And are you alive?
Those are all valid questions, I think.
Yeah, and most of them are false.
Wow.
You're not there. And I'm proud of it. And I'm proud to boast or gloat about it because I'm proud. I didn't do nothing. I'm not, it's almost like I like these guys that are back in the day. They're doing everything, drugs and running around on their wives or whatever they're doing. 10 years later, they're out of business, and they come up to me thumping the Bible and born again. Well, wait a minute, gentlemen. Wait a minute. I lived that way my whole life. I'm not saying I'm a Bible thumper, but believe in God and so forth, but I did what you're pretending to do now, so you're using it for a gimmick. Well, you need to get away from me. Now you want to be my friend? Now you want to tell me I'm a good wrestler? Now you want to tell me I was this and that? Please.
Anybody in particular you want to mention? Not really.
Not really. I don't even want to put them over. See, there's two arguments to this conversation. Bury them and mention their names and not a coward or nothing, or they're not even worth it.
There you go.
Why even put them over? I mean, I have a top 10 list, believe me, of pieces of shit, that don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch or can't lace my boots.
Right.
Or weren't the athlete I was, or didn't pay the dues I did, or never even wrestled in a wrestling tournament, amateur tournament, junior high, high school, or college. I'm not saying I'm the degree of the Steiners either with their background or a Brock Lesnar or anything either.
Right.
But, I was a Florida State champion, so.
Yeah.
And I don't mean from Mike Graham either.
What's that again? Oh, from Mike Graham. Oh, yeah, I don't mean from
Mike Graham. I mean amateur.
I know what you mean.
So.
I do have a couple more questions for you, and
sure.
From a guy who came up in the territories and worked Mid-Atlantic, and we mentioned Don Owen, and we mentioned, Mid-South and Florida Championship, worked the territories global even, I guess you can argue, as a territory back in the Texas area.
Yep.
For somebody who saw all those territories, and now you kind of look at the business, and it really is just one, arguably two big companies out there, is it, obviously you have to be a fan to be in it, but does it bother you that the guys today have such few options? Or such few places even to learn and perfect their craft before they get to the big show?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't look at that end. It's just business. That's just the way it is. It's too bad it can't be more. It was that way for a while, and then it just, like anything else, all good things come to an end.
You think it'll ever head back that way?
I don't think so, but never say never in the wrestling business.
Fair point.
But you're not going to compete with Vince, and you never say never because you just don't know what'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet, and he's the Mac Daddy of it. I mean, he's not just a billionaire. He's not just, he knows this business, and he's brought it from, superstardom to mega icon. I mean, he's Hollywood status. He's brought it into sports entertainment, what it is. In fact, I heard you're not supposed to call it wrestling no more.
That's true.
Which is a bunch of crap.
And you're not, by the way, you'll be glad to know that you're not a wrestler. You were a superstar.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
I'll try to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Boris had in mind for you.
Yeah, that and 10 cents will get you coffee.
Where are you buying coffee?
Huh?
I said, where are you getting coffee for 10 cents?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's great talking to you again, and I do want to ask you, though, about the dying days of WCW, because you just mentioned it, and, a lot of people look at that as, a lot of people that are listening to this interview are probably going to point to that as probably what you're talking about when you're sticking the middle finger up at guys saying, where are you now, kind of thing. A lot of the guys that were kind of tarnishing the legacy, or whatever you want to say, of the WCW company. Was seeing the company at the end kind of sad to see, because it seemed to me like it was a runaway train flying off the track.
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel that way as working?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Rumor is Eric Bischoff spent too much money and ruined it. I mean, maybe if you let Kevin Sullivan and Arn Anderson and Ric Flair and wrestlers run it to a point, maybe it would have progressed a little bit better, but I didn't even like the way, I was originally booked on Nitro's, Thunder's Saturday nights, then it just, and some house shows, and then it just got to be Saturday nights, which my contract was the same, so I really didn't care. I did care about when, you always get a phone call, and I'll never forget, I was supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, in Colorado, and, not even a phone call or nothing, and I had to search around and get a hold of Jimmy Hart or something. I mean, have some respect and give me a phone call. I don't care how busy you are. Come on, I'm on the active roster. That's not the way you do things.
You just kind of, like I said earlier, you kind of just felt lost in the shuffle there? Yeah,
I didn't like the way, I liked the way things were going, and I wish it progressed, and And why couldn't I go on a board with Vince? Why couldn't I go with that? You know, I'm just curious about that. But, you know, you'll never find a really direct answer to that, you know. Yeah, by the way, thanks, Jimmy Hart, for calling me, you know.
Did he actually call you or no?
No, I think I had to get in touch with him. He's another one, no comment on that at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, looking back at your career, I guess you already kind of mentioned it, but no regrets, no, you know, wishing that you maybe had said, hey, look at me kind of thing in the boardrooms or anything like that? Or
no,
yeah.
I just wish I could have stayed instead of wrestling the independents back in early 2000. I could have been with Vince still, or, you know, why couldn't I be an advisor, or why couldn't I be somewhere there? As you know, as far as loyalty, working for his dad and working for him, did nothing but, you know, worked my ass off. But of course, his comeback would be, well, I paid you, you know, right, and he did.
Right.
But you know, there's a lot of guys that I was there before that, you know, who ever heard of Fit Finley? And what about Barry Horowitz? I mean, nothing against Fit. He's, you know, he's good. I don't think he's there anymore.
No, they fired him because they blamed him for some kind of anti-American thing, right?
Right. That
which
sounds
seems a little drummed up to me, but
yeah, sounds like a clear setup. He did something and they wanted to get rid of him. But I hope he saved his money because he had a hell of a run.
Yeah, he was there for a better part of 10 years.
There's another one that's underrated. I mean, got a little bit out of shape, just a little bit, but what a technician. Absolutely. I mean, supreme.
And my wife is actually from England, so she actually, when she moved, she brought over some tapes of World of Sport over in England, and watching him back then is like, wow.
Oh, yeah, difference when his hair was longer.
Yeah.
And I met him in Austria working for Otto once.
Right.
That's where I first met him, and some other English wrestlers and so forth. So, yeah, I wish I was there and wish, you know, I could have made a little bit more money and so forth, but again, you know, what are you going to do? You know, it's the guys that are, if, you know, I'll tell you what would be really wrong is if you're somebody like Hulk Hogan or Shawn Michaels and you're bitching. No, man, you got nothing to bitch about. You're a millionaire. Shut it. You did everything, you know? So, but I'm saying that I haven't heard him say that, but that would be a crime.
There you go.
That'd be a real crime.
There you go.
So,
I got to ask you, we'll take it back to Global before we take it home, and that question is, you know, my favorite match from your Global days was the one you won, the last man standing against Jerry Lynn, and I got to ask you, Jerry Lynn is one of those guys that kind of people put in the same boat as you, and kind of, I hate to say the hard luck club, because I'm not trying to make you feel that way at all, but, you know, kind of the guys that were better than they ever got credit for. And,
yeah, Jerry Lynn was good.
Yeah.
You know, I could be wrong. Let me I don't think I've ever seen Jerry since that match, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't see him in WCW or WWF. If I did see him, it was very brief.
He was there in WWF, but they were, I think he went to WWF for a few matches while you were still there, and I think they shipped him to ECW.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so
and then, is he still with TNA?
Not as far as I know. In fact, I think he got injured, and I don't know if he's doing anything.
Yeah.
He did get injured. He was working hardcore with ROH, Ring of Honor, and last I heard, he got injured a little less than a year ago. He was going to come in and wrestle RVD for a ECW tribute show they were putting on over there, and he got hurt. And I know that there've been some benefit shows to try to raise money to pay his bills.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's the only thing I've heard about him in the past several months.
Oh.
Hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, I think that could be the last time I seen him was when I wrestled him. Yeah, he's a good guy, quiet guy, stayed in shape, fantastic wrestler, and of course one of my favorite. You know, a lot of my favorite and friends come from Minnesota, so have an utmost respect for people from Minnesota area and also Canada.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's real cool. You know what, another thing that we should throw in that mix, I think every professional wrestler needs to break in Japan.
Now, Japan that's an interesting question. Why do you say that? The strong style or what?
Strong style, and they treat it like a shoot, like they would boxing or UFC. You could be a superstar, and you're going out with the main eventer holding his towel or whatever. Utmost respect. I love that. And you're getting the hell beat out of you. You're taking bumps. You're doing this and doing that. Then you slowly, and you respect the business more, and you become a better worker and technician and star, if you want to call it that. I like that a lot. When I went there, they didn't look at me as what I wrestled in WCW or WWF, what I did. They looked at what I could do in that ring. They said, forget that. Come in there and show us what you got. And the same thing when I went to Austria for Otto Once. I have the utmost respect for it. They were judging Barry Horowitz's work, and that's it. Not Mr. Technical or Barry Horowitz the winner, what he did in the States and all that BS. See, I like that a lot. They don't look at you like that. That's why I've got the utmost respect for Otto Once. That man has been calling me 3 or 4 times. He called me in my career, had to turn him down because I was under contract. And he kept on pursuing, and I did go there. And I beat Franz Schumann opening night in the main event. People went silent. Not because they couldn't believe it, because he hasn't been beaten in 2 years. Well, I come out of nowhere, and at least I may come out of nowhere, and you may watch me on WWF, but my style and my wrestling spoke for it all. It wasn't like he slipped on a banana peel.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
it's got to be great too to get that kind of respect that frankly you deserve too from the when they do let you kind of show what you can do, because
exactly.
I think sometimes I would say it was more prevalent in the later years, WWF and WCW. It felt to me like they kind of restricted you a little bit. They didn't want you to go out there and be the superstar they wanted.
Well, let me tell you something. Every time I went out there, TV or whatever, if I got to shine, I did it. Now, granted, if they didn't want me to, you got to do what you're told, or you're not going to have a job and not going to fulfill my dream, and I'm not going to have what I have today. So I understand certain things, but you let me loose, and I'm going.
There you go.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be the lawnmower, and you're gonna be grass, and I'm coming right over you.
There you go. Well, I'll let you go, but before I do, what is you mentioned that your dream has been exhausted, and you've lived it, and you've gotten a chance to be the wrestler, and everybody remembers you. I don't know a person on the planet. I mean, there was a big reaction on our Facebook page when we announced we were going to have you on. So
really, I didn't even know that.
Well, people are always a big fan of big time WWF and WCW superstars, and obviously, our show, we've had everybody from basically everybody you mentioned in this conversation, from Hogan to Flair to Savage, who unfortunately just lost. We've had everybody on, and it's always great to have you on, and to have guys like you on, because normalcy in the world of professional wrestling is a rare thing, and I welcome it.
Yeah. So guys got to learn to separate. You don't take your gimmick home with you. You're not really the world heavyweight champion when you go home.
Exactly.
Okay, you're not. You're well, you're not your gimmick. You're not really a true warrior or whatever. You know what I mean? You're
exactly. You're not really a warrior. I got you for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that too.
There you go.
Yeah, there's not really a warrior or a real one.
No.
The ones I know, true ones are not him, and mostly they're in the UFC.
There you go. That's true. That's true. Well, there's plenty I could ask you. In fact, I'm going to throw one last, since you just mentioned UFC, my final question for you. The talk amongst a lot of wrestling trainers that we have on, and Rip Rogers being one of them, and being many others, Kevin Knight up in New Jersey, a lot of them that we had on, all mentioned that UFC kind of stole wrestling's gimmick, and that people just want the believability back in wrestling, and that's what UFC provides to them, and that's why UFC's managed to capitalize on a lot of the wrestling fans. Do you believe that to be the case?
No, that's not true at all.
You don't think so?
UFC has been around, I think, since 91, 90, I don't know the first action one. I guess the first big one was with Hoist Gracie.
Right.
No. They're shoot fighting, and that, I didn't believe in it back then. I didn't like it. It was barbaric.
Right.
I'm not watching that. I could see that for free in any neighborhood. I'm going to think of neighborhoods in Florida, but a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I can go to Ybor City or down a back alley or some hood and see that for free.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, but when they refined it, when Dana White bought it and so forth, I'm a big fan because if you noticed, all your good ones are wrestlers.
Yeah,
they just got to learn their stand-up and their jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and so forth. So I'm a big, big fan because I'm going to tell you what, in my opinion, that is the ultimate training. I mean, you got to learn boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu to the finest. I mean, you can't make one error in that cage or you're a dead man. Your cardio has got to be off the charts. I've never seen anything like it. And you know, there's guys train a lot, and I watch training films for inspirational things. I'm into all that, but man, when you watch Brock Lesnar train or Sean Shirk, it's Rich Franklin, it's unfriggin' believable.
That's true.
I mean, they are well-oiled machines.
That is true.
And yeah, the Ultimate Fighter, a UFC fighter, especially the UFC, you don't want to mess with a guy like that. You
that
just don't, you know. You're like messing with an action hero that's in a movie, but he's real.
If you were, say you're Barry Horowitz is 18 years old again, you become a wrestler or you go in MMA?
You know, I don't know because, yeah, I can't, you know, of course I love the MMA now, but, you know, I like performing in front of those people, and I know there's more money there, and I don't know. That's kind of hard. Yeah, I really don't know. I like both. I love both, actually. And I respect both. I mean, our training is hard, too, now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, it comes second nature to me, but I remember all the things that I went through and how I got hurt in training and so forth, but, you know, I don't know. It's a little bit different. There's different things in pro wrestling, and maybe a lot of UFC guys would go, holy crap, that's just too much. I mean, I remember my first slams and suplexes and arm drags and stuff. I just thought it was, you know, it was brutal and taking a slam off the top and so forth. And those guys may not, you know, they may think that's rough, but I think their training is not the actual fight. The fight is just, we're talking about technique. And, of course, you know, you can get knocked out, or you can get an arm broken or whatever, but the training is off the charts. I mean, for 2 months to train like that every day. And some of those guys are getting in a vehicle and driving for it, and a lot of them, most of them, you know, they make all right money. Your heavy hitters are, you know, probably Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, you know, Rich Franklin, Matt Hughes. You know, not everybody is making those kind of things, but I'm hearing some of the figures that some of the underneath guys making. They're not doing bad.
No.
But they're also getting busted up more than pro wrestlers are, too.
Yeah, that's why they work, you know, far less in terms of actual fights compared to matches, you know what I mean? Well, Barry, I got to tell you, it was great having you on. Anytime you have anything that you'd like to promote or talk about, the door is
I appreciate it.
The only
thing I would like to promote is I am on the Internet as far as something's up with my site, MrTechnical.info. It's still there, but I think it's still there, but the deal is, what I found out through different people is, I don't even have to have a website no more. I'm all over the place, they told me. BarryHorowitz.com, which I don't even know who did that, who came up with it, but I'm on the Wikipedia. I'm all over the place, so it doesn't matter. Yep. I don't even need a site anymore.
And you're on
right?
Facebook, Owen, right? Yeah, no.
Am I right? Is all my info just out there?
Yeah, BarryHorowitz.com is out there. Wikipedia is one of the...
and now, what's really cool, too, is, you know, I'm on the WWE site is Where Are They Now?
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I just did that. I guess it's been 2 years, and I was one of the first to be asked to do that. I was contacted by Howard Finkel. So that was kind of, you know, flattering and pretty cool because it's a permanent publicity statue right there. You're on there always, I guess.
Yeah, they leave you up there. They put you in like the alumni. Right.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. And fans, you know, they remember and so forth. I'm just not real internet savvy. I'm a big believer. I just don't believe in sitting there.
Yeah.
I could be doing other things. And when I was working independent, of course, I checked it and so forth. And I had was doing my own bookings and so forth, or other people were doing it, but I had to get internet involved, and not really up for that, or actually really have the time.
There you go.
So a lot of people tell me, or did you hear this or that? And I don't know if anybody heard that I was in a new rap song.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What song is that?
I'm possibly going to sue the person, but yeah, I was told back in April. And if you go to, if everybody's listening here, let me get this right. Action Bronson Barry Horowitz. All you got to do is Google that. Action Bronson is a rap singer. He's legit. He sells his DVD for about $13 on the internet. He has a new CD out. The first release, the name of the song is Barry Horowitz.
Very good.
If you watch it,
or negative?
What's that?
Is it complimentary?
Complimentary, definitely.
Very cool.
It shows me in the beginning, probably the match looks like from '89. Gary Capetta is the ring announcer. Jim Ross is at the end. The rapper himself is patting himself on the back. He brings me up. Didn't get permission to do that from me or the wrestling organization, so I don't know what's going to go on with that, especially if he's making money off of that CD.
Right.
And I'm the first release. But, yeah, Action Bronson Barry Horowitz, you Google that, and it's about probably 1.5 to 2 minute video, and that's done, MTV quality.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah, if you watched it, and I told you this was off of MTV, you would believe me.
I believe it.
It's not a jabroni video, It's first class.
Wow, very cool.
So I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I'll be honest, not my style of music, but that's very cool.
No, it's not my style at all. I'm old school rockin' Motley Crue and Def Leppard in the
Hell
gym.
Yeah,
and
you just named my CD collection there. Poison, Warrant.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I am a true country music fan at heart.
Ah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Well, when you travel with Tojo Yamamoto for about 2 years driving with him, you're almost forced to listen to it. I got hooked on it in Nashville. That's a true story.
So Tojo Yamamoto is a big country fan.
Yes, he was a big country fan, and I travel with him, mostly just him alone or him and Aki Sato. And I guess I was there, I don't even know how long I was there. I may have been there a year. And I traveled with him a good amount, and he always had it on. I got hooked on it, and I've been hooked probably since 87, 88. Plus, I was in a #1 country music video. That you could Google, too. Joe Diffie's Pickup Man. I'm in there. So that was in 95, the video of the year and the song of the year.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been great talking to you, man, and always great to talk to somebody who loves old school rock and roll like I do.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I'll be in contact with yourself and Tammy over Facebook, and I will, of course, update you guys and give you guys the information on how you can download, listen to, and I'll even put up on YouTube the interview so people can listen.
Okay, great.
Great talking to you.
And always remember, Barry Horowitz is a great wrestler. His opponents just wrestle great.
Can I get the sound of you patting yourself on the back?
Yeah, let me try to do this. Here, hold on.
There we go.
There it is. You heard it live. Only on your show.
Only on us. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.